Hello there and welcome back to the channel. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the T-Motor Carbon Fiber Folding Propellers for the DJI Inspire 2. Now these T-Motor propellers have been made in partnership with Florida Drone Supply and T-Motor themselves, and you can only get these from the guys at Florida Drone Supply. To use them you will need two boxes, because in each box is one clockwise propeller and one counterclockwise. So let's get in the box and have a look. So as I tear off the cellophane, you will find that there are actually a security seal on the side of the box, so you can't just actually open it. You've got to actually break the seal to say you want to get in. When you do get into the box, what you find is this nice foam packaging which holds the propellers themselves, and you just give it a tear and it will pull on out, hopefully. And what you will find is sitting on the top of it is the screws for fitting the propellers themselves, and the props are sitting inside this like transport case, and this is what protects them in the box from any damage. To be fair, they are well protected as well, so even if that box had a lot of pressure on the top of it, I don't think it would get anywhere near the propellers themselves anyway. To open the little packing crate, you simply lift it up and it pops off to reveal the propellers sitting inside just like that. Also in the package is a little set of stickers, which I have not worked out what they're for yet. Matching stickers for props. Not sure why I want them a minute, because they're not quick release, they are screw fit. However, perhaps I'm missing something. When you remove the propellers, you lift them out of the packaging and they come up like that, and you can fold them out straight. They have an aluminium set of center hubs with two hex screws on the top, which go into two captive nuts in the bottom. The propellers themselves size is 15.2 times 5. Another thing you'll notice that unlike the DJI props, they actually have a downturn tip on the edge of the prop, and you'll have a slight cutting as it kicks down itself. When you compare it in size to the original DJI prop, they are actually virtually identical. There is literally nothing in it. It is a little bit longer with the cut down on the end, but we are talking absolutely subtle, probably about 4mm in total. But again, that's the bit that is cut down off the edge of the prop itself. When you get them, they are pre-tensioned and preset, and I have found that they are quite stiff. Stiffer than I would preferably like. The ones I have fitted, I have actually loosened the screw an absolute touch. I do think they're a little bit tight out of the box. That's my personal opinion. They are made of carbon fibre and they are extremely glossy, and to be fair, they look absolutely fantastic. I used to be a very large fisherman, and carbon fibre runs through my DNA, if I'm honest, and there's nothing like looking at a very nicely made carbon fibre piece. Basically, they are extremely well made when you look at them. There's no question about that. There's no sign anywhere that there is any cheap carbon fibre in use. They are stiff. Reality, stiff wise, you know what, the original DJI props are sort of a plastic composite on the Inspire 2, and they are extremely stiff. They really are. Now these carbon props are stiffer, there's no question about that, but there isn't a lot of difference. Unlike the Inspire 1, the Inspire 1 prop was very soft. The Inspire 2 prop is extremely stiff. Other than that, that's all you get included in the packaging. You get your two screws for each propeller, you get two blades, a clockwise and a counterclockwise, and then you get the little stickers for matching the propellers, which I'm not quite sure what they're about. As I said, the hubs are aluminium and are pre-drilled with the holes for the screws to go through. So the first thing you will need to do before you fit them is remove the propeller hubs off your Inspire 2. And there is some stuff you need to know about, because I have seen some reports of people struggling with this, and the reason is DJI use some very good Loctite on the screws on the Inspire prop hubs. So the first thing you need to make sure is that you are absolutely using the correct size torque bit. Now, I actually went and bought a brand new set for doing this because my set was a little bit rusty and I wasn't 100% happy about doing it. But please, the first piece of advice I will give you is make sure you have the absolute correct Torx piece to do this. If it is at all loose, do not try it, because if you strip the screw, you are really getting into some trouble then. Now, I have removed the front two and fitted them already, and I had no problems doing that at all. It literally took me 2 minutes. Whilst the screws were a little bit tight, there wasn't really any issues doing it. So what we'll do now is actually hop on to fit in one of these and have a look how tough it is on the third. Okay, so to remove the hub off the existing DJI motor, the first thing, as I said just now, is make sure you've got the right size. Now, there are just 2 screws, one this side, one this side. What I have done is place my hand around the motor here like this, placed the Torx bit into the head of the screw, making sure it's home, and then I have just gently twisted the screw to undo, and it is stiff. There is no question that it does take quite a lot of force to undo the screw, but it does undo as long as you do it nice, smooth and progressive, and it will undo. Now, what I would say is I wouldn't withdraw the screw completely. I would simply loosen it and rotate it to then until it gets loose, as that one now has, and then rotate the motor and do the other one. And again, I've made sure it's in nice and hard. Hold the motor tight and undo it, and that one is actually a lot looser than the one on the other side. Now, something I spotted when I've taken the other two off is, as I've undone these screws, it's actually left quite a bit of Loctite residue under the hub. So when you remove the hub, gently take it up nice and straight and take it away from the motor and place it down. You may find it leaves the spring plate sitting on top. You still need to remove this. So again, I would just lift it up and place it to the side. And the last thing I would say is get a hoover and hoover up any debris that is around there, because you do not want anything of any sort to fall into the motors. And on the Inspire 2 motors, there are these 2 quite large gaps once you remove the propellers that stuff can fall into. So it is imperative that you have a hoover and hoover up any of the dust, as I'm about to do now. Next, make sure you get the correct propeller, and remember your front propellers rotate inwards and your back propellers rotate outwards away from the frame. So what we're going to do now is take the correct one and place it over the top of the shaft and line the screw holes up just like that. Take one of the 2 screws included in the pack, and you want to make sure that you do put a little bit of Loctite on these screws, because remember, your propellers are what are holding your aircraft in the air, and you want to make sure that these screws do not come loose. Whenever you're using Loctite, use it extremely sparingly. Loctite is corrosive to various types of plastics, and whilst the motor hub is not plastic, any overspill could cause some damage on your aircraft. It will strip off decals, it will remove any form of labelling, text or anything like that. So people don't always realise how corrosive Loctite is, so do be careful. To fit the screw in, we simply go through the top, through the hole and then down to the hub. And then what I'm going to do is just align it into the hole and then get it in place, and then I'm going to put my clamp round on this one and tighten that one up a little bit. Now what I have found is, because of the Loctite that they use, there is still some in the holes, and when you're putting your screws in, they're quite tight to go in. So you do want to make sure that as you're putting your screws in and when you tighten them down fully, is that they are actually tight. Because when I've done mine, and I've done it once, I thought they were tight on the first one, and then I suddenly realized they were not, and then I had to actually put another bit of pressure on it again to make sure that they were tight. So again, I'm going to tighten this one down, and as I'm tightening this one, I can feel some resistance, and we're just going to get it down just so it feels there, and that is not there yet, and that's about it there. And then we're going to tighten down the other one and get that to where we want it to be. And again, that one is now tight, and that one is now tight. So that is the propeller fitted. It is really straightforward. It is not difficult. I have seen people have problems, and I've seen people saying they're having to drill these off. As long as you use the proper size Torx, I don't see people having too many issues. But again, make sure you're using a high quality Torx bit. Next, I'm going to flip over to doing the other one. Okay, so to finish this up, I've been flying these props now for about 3 weeks, and overall I'm very happy with them. Flight time, they offer about the same. I can't say I've seen any benefit in that side of it. They are a touch quieter in flight though than the original DJI props. As you can see, they are made of extremely high quality carbon fibre, and the finish on them is absolutely outstanding. I couldn't find a single imperfection on any one of the propellers. Even where they come down at the very end of the winglet, it is perfectly finished on every single prop. Myself, I always straighten the props out perfectly before I fire the motors up, and you will see a slight amount of vibration or slop on the booms as they self-balance, but once the motors have got up to speed, that disappears. I have tried to measure the vibrations, and whilst this is hard to do, overall the props self-balance nicely, and feeling the boom arms in flight, there is no more vibrations being transferred than I would have expected from the standard DJI propeller. One last thing I should note is that the aircraft will not fit in the standard DJI case with these propellers fitted without modification. Because they fold back, it does take up more space, and you will need to cut some of the foam out if you do want to use the original DJI case. Okay, so to finish this one up, overall these are a very nice propeller, and if you are looking for an aftermarket propeller for your Inspire 2, these are absolutely the ones to go for from Florida Drone Supply. Now, I do want to state that please be aware that any modifications to your aircraft, even propellers, may have an impact on its manufacturer's warranty. It is just something to be aware of. I'm not saying it will, and I'm not saying it won't. I just want to state that any changes at all, any modifications could have an impact on that, so please be aware of that before you do fit any accessories or any extras. Overall, I want to thank the guys at Florida Drone Supply for sending me these props to have a look at. They are only available from Florida Drone Supply, and there are details for that in the description for this video. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll do another one again soon.